feel this intense urge to talk about imposter syndrome today. This is something that came up in my RFW community yesterday, and we had a really beautiful conversation around this as one of the gals like really opened up and got vulnerable about an experience that she's been going through around this topic, you know. And I know a lot of us struggle with this. A lot of us go through this. A lot of us experience this same thing where we just feel like we are not qualified, we are not adequate, we are not good enough. We are like, who are we to do this or want this or try to pretend like we're this person? And it's so interesting because it's the human in us that just wants to innately keep us safe. We have 4 nervous system states that are tied to our ego, and our ego is essentially just an identity that our nervous system has created to protect us from things that we've gone through in our life, right? And I like to describe like the ego as like the parent. Okay, so like you're a parent and your kids are all grown up and they're ready to move away and leave the nest, and it's like, no, like, what do you mean? Like, can we still see each other every week? Can you call me, you know, every day? Can you just like keep me posted on your life? Can we go out and do this together? Can we, you know, like, it's just that parental role that like, I don't want to let you go. I'm not ready to let you go because essentially I myself don't even know who I am without you. And that's our ego. So in saying that, imposter syndrome is a byproduct of our ego trying to protect us, trying to keep us safe, trying to keep us near it, and it not knowing how to function without trying to keep us safe, right? And so imposter syndrome is like, oh, like, you know, are you sure you can do that? Because like, who are you to think you've done that? You've never done that before. You know, just challenge us on these things so that we aren't put in situations where we might be embarrassed or, you know, made to seem like we don't know as much as we'd like to know or whatever, right? It's this whole thing. But the reality of it is that imposter syndrome loves to show up during and like right before a big expansion. And again, it's like the ego gets really uncomfortable when we are expanding outside of what feels safe, because again, it's like, oh my God, they might not need me anymore. It's this subconscious like wiring that like our ego's like, oh my God, they might not need me anymore, right? So I'm just gonna like hold on really tight and like what if, drill all these things, right? So it's this whole kind of programming, and like I said, it loves to show up right before like a huge expansion or during expansion, and it'll just be like, it'll challenge everything you thought you knew about yourself. You know, you could be in a career for 10 years and imposter syndrome will pop up, you know, in the moment when you least expect it, and it's like, do you even fucking know what you're doing? Like, are you sure? And it's wild because if we let it, it can rock everything that we like, every piece of an identity that we have built around us, you know, being good at our career or having this successful business or like whatever it looks like, right? And it will just like rock everything you thought you knew and challenge you on that. And if you feed into that, then it can really spiral you into either like a flight stage where like you just like run and avoid, or it can honestly lead to like a full-blown like freeze state where you just shut the F down. So if imposter syndrome is creeping up in any way, shape, or form, some things that we can do to come out the other side of that is we can lean into people in our lives that have seen us in like the best of what we're having the imposter syndrome about, right? So whether it's your career, lean into people in your career that you've worked with, your mentors, even if it's your boss or your business partner or whatever that looks like. Lean into those people and ask for support and guidance on like, okay, so this is what I'm feeling, and I might just need a reminder of how fucking badass I am in this, you know, or why does this feel hard? Have you ever gone through this, you know? Things like that. And then secondly, to our nervous system tool. And the reason why I talk about nervous system so much is because everything trickles downwards from your nervous system, right? So if your nervous system is dysregulated, everything else is going to not only feel so much harder, but it's going to actually like, there's going to be way more resistance in everything that you're doing because your nervous system is dysregulated. So like you might be taking action, but not in an aligned way. So there's going to be resistance, right? The only way for us to truly like drop into that like Flow state is when we have a regulated nervous system and then we take action from there, and it's just like, it's flowy, it's easy, it feels so good. Leaning into like a mentor or a coach or a business partner or whatever can be a piece of like regulating the nervous system, right? Getting that like clarification of like, okay, maybe I just need a reminder, maybe I just need a pat on the back, or maybe I just need some validation that other people have experienced this too. It's not just me, right? And or leaning into like your community, right? Like that's what I also love about the structure of RFW that I've created, is that it's a community and we're all in it for the same reason, to grow and expand and help each other through all of that. So it's like lean, like, you know, be in a community like that that's aligned, and lean into your people, right? And then, you know, once you lean into your people, lean into your tools, right? So your nervous system regulation tools. So I always encourage everybody to find what your tools are specific to you. So for some people that very well could be like journaling or listening to meditations or just basic frequencies, affirmations, things like that. For some people it could be like going and doing like a heavy workout at the gym. It could be going in nature. It could be going to play a sport. It could be like playing music, like literally playing a musical instrument. It could be surrounding yourself with animals. It could be like literally, there can be so many different things for different people. And so I always encourage people to find what their tools are that work specifically for them and have it in your toolbox to use, right? So if you're coming up to imposter syndrome and you're like, okay, like I'm questioning everything about my life, or everything about this piece of my life, or this thing that I'm doing, you know, lean into your community, lean into your people, and then lean into your tools, right? And use those resources to get you back to your regulated state, as well as get you back to the place of like, okay, I'm not an imposter. I am a person who is worthy of this position, or worthy of this role, or worthy of this business, right? Because you wouldn't be in it if you weren't. That's the reality of it, right? And imposter syndrome is not biased. Imposter syndrome, like people like Tony Robbins, he teaches mindset and stuff like that. And he's been in the game for like 25, 30 years, if not more. And he has openly admitted that he still gets imposter syndrome, right? And so it's like, imposter syndrome is not biased, it is subject to anyone. Is something that you have had around imposter syndrome lately, and how you've worked through it. And if you haven't, then try leaning into these methods and see how they work. I would love to hear your experience with all of this.